So I did mine on my research on the Rwandan Genocide. The Rwanda Genocide lasted between April and June of 1994, in which roughly 800,000 Rwandan citizens were killed. There were two predominant ethnic groups involved: the Hutus, which was the majority, or the majority group, which did most of the killings, and then there was the Tutsis, which was the minority. So when we go back in time, we're going to go back to the Treaty of Versailles, where Belgium took control of Rwanda. And when they gained control of Rwanda, they were actually differentiating and separating and kind of segregating each of these Rwandan citizens based on things like height, shape of the nose, and even skin color. And this became so big and so popular that even in the 1930s, beginning in the 1930s, they actually printed their IDs with an identification on it, labeling them as either a Hutu or a Hutu or a Tutsi. And before this, if you look also, even after they started being segregated by these physical appearances, they shared the same language, they shared the same cultural traditions, and they even shared the same religious beliefs and values. So the only thing that was really separating them again were things like height, the shape of their nose, and just all the physical features were the only things that truly separated these people. The tip of the iceberg was in April of 1994, where there was a plane crash that was carrying the president of Rwanda at the time. And in response to that, the presidential guards issued a retaliatory order essentially against the Tutsis. But not just only the Tutsis, but the moderate Hutus were also the target of this genocide essentially. So after this order was released, the government actually started releasing propaganda videos stating how the Tutsis and the moderate Hutus were a major threat to the country, and how they can't be safe within their own country and they have to be killed. So a lot of these local villages and the local leaders, they actually distributed weapons to the Hutus to go out and kill the Tutsis. A lot of the Tutsis were rounded up at churches, at schools, at places of gathering, in their own homes. They went to public events and literally in public would kidnap them and murder them, and even kill them in broad daylight and in public. So on top of that, what made this event so horrific was the fact that the weapon of choice that was used by these murderers were machetes. It was very gruesome. It was very gory. When you think about them killing someone with a gun versus a machete, mostly a gun can kill a person very quickly and sometimes painlessly. But a machete, if it's blunt, it could be very painful to kill someone. On top of that, women were raped publicly. They were raped publicly and repeatedly. In fact, 2/3 of the women were actually contracted AIDS due to the fact that they were raped so many times. Would I consider this an ethnic cleansing? I would say yes, due to the fact that starting way back in the 1930s, when the Belgians started to differentiate these two ethnic groups, they started to kind of separate themselves and wanted to live against each other and not with each other. So the Hutus tried to eliminate the Tutsis completely out of their civilization. Towards the end of it, at the end of the Rwandan genocide, 2 million other Hutus actually fled to modern day the Democratic Republic of the Congo and even Tanzania. And then at the end of this, a multicultural presidentialship was established in which both parties kind of shared power, so that something like this would never happen again. Outside of this, the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda was established in Arusha in November of 1994. And in this proceedings, 61 individuals were convicted for genocides and crimes against humanities. But the other significant event that came from this action was They were the first to recognize rape as a weapon of genocide. So kind of like the biggest thing that, the most significant thing that I took from this was, these people, the people of Rwanda, they let essentially these outsiders, these Belgians, cause and stir up a hatred in between them that ultimately led to the Civil War, killing roughly 800,000 people. And if it wasn't stopped, it was actually outpacing the numbers produced by the Holocaust. So if this wasn't going to die down quickly, millions were going to die. So yeah.